No one expects the Jedi Inquisition. Their chief weapon is surprise. And fear. And lightsabers. So, welcome to another episode of Blastercaded Painting, and today we're going to be painting the Inquisitors from Star Wars Shatterpoint by Atomic Mass Games. We're going to be painting all four of them because they're all wearing similar clothing, so we can do all the clothing at the same time, and then we're just going to vary up their skin tones because they all look a little different because people are different. And for the colors on the uniform, we are just going to be doing the Grand Inquisitor, just so you can get an idea of how we're doing all of the blacks and grays, because it's mostly black and gray. Let's do it. So we're going to start by spraying this guy white. It might have made sense to spray him black or gray, but whatever, we started with white. And our first color that we're going to use is gray. Now, this is going to go all over his armor plates. So any of the parts that we are going to want the darkest, so his armor plates here, and you'll see me avoiding the sides here, but it turns out those sides are also the darker black color. And the shoulder pads here, boots, gloves, armor, you name it, it's getting this color. Then we're going to move over to some dark blue here and some dark blue gray. We're going to mix that up so we just darken down that dark blue, and this is going all over the back of his cape. Now we're going to move over to some uniform gray, and this is going to go all over those parts that we've left white. So pants, undershirt, sleeves, you know, all this stuff. And also his gloves. Now we're going to take some Gravelord Gray and some Speedpaint Medium, and this is going to go all over the parts that we just painted with that gray and the uniform gray. So it's basically just going to be a wash over all of those dark colors we just did. Now we're going to move back to our gray here, and we're just going to start highlighting up that armor. So it's just panels, so we're just going to go in, we're going to leave the recesses dark, and just take our time going through and getting all of these colors just layered up. Now we're going to add some neutral gray into our gray, and we're just going to go through and do our second highlight up on all that armor. And we're going to switch back to our uniform gray, and we're going to start highlighting up all those cloth parts that we did. So we're just going through again, most raised areas, we're leaving all the recesses, and we're just bringing that uniform gray back up. And we do want to take our time here and make sure that we're not either overdoing it or getting into our recesses. Now we're going to add a little stonewall gray into our uniform gray just to lighten it up a bit, and we're going to do our last little highlight up on that gray, on those pants, on those sleeves, on them gloves, all of it. The spinning lightsaber seems like it's probably a hazard. Like, I imagine you'd have to do quite a bit of training with that. I don't know if you've held something that's spinning and then, like, move your hand and it gets all crazy, you know? Ever done that? Oh well. We're going to take some dark blue here, and we're going to do a highlight up on the back of the cape. So with flowing surfaces, it can be a little harder where to judge, but we're just going to go through, leave our recesses, and make it as flowing as possible. Now we're going to add some Stonewall Gray into that dark blue, and we're going to do the next highlight up on that cape. Now we're going to take some Mayhem Red here, and this is going to go all over the inside of the cape. Now you'll probably have to do 2 thin coats of this because that Mayhem Red is just not covering over the white as well as I would like. So alternative, you could use any other darker red that you have. Now we're going to take some Briar Queen Chill, and we're going to thin that down with some Express Medium, and this is going to go all over his face. Now we're going to take some Antares Red, and we're just going to pull out some of these little details that he has on his armor and on his belt. So there's some red details there, so just look at your source material and you can find them. Now we're going to take some white primer here. I like how smooth this is because it's actually an airbrush color, and we're going to do highlights up on all of that face that we just did. So we're just looking for the most raised area, and we still want to leave that Briar Queen Chill in the recesses. And I'm going to grab some Uniform Gray and do these little nodes on his head here. Now we're going to take some Amaranth Red, and we are going to just give a little highlight up on these little spots that we did with the Antares Red. Also going to use this on the markings on his face, so he's got under his eyes and up on the top of his head. Can't remember what species he is, but I think he's from Utapau, which is in Revenge of the Sith. Just a fun word to say, Utapau. Utapau. Yeah, it sounds good. Utapau. Utapau. Say it too much, it doesn't sound like a word, which it isn't because it's made up. Now we're going to take some yellow here, and we are just going to dot in his eyes. Just be careful, and honestly, if you're not comfortable doing this, just skip it. Now we're going to take some Baal Crimson here, and we're going to do our first highlight layer up on the inside of that cape. So we're going to try and cover up any of the mistakes of the Mayhem Red. But as it turns out, the Scale 75 fantasy color range just doesn't want to cover very well. I don't know why. And we're going to add some Beherit Red into that color, and we're going to do up another highlight there, just kind of make it flowing. I guess it's more of an interpretation of a cape at this point. We're going to take some straight Beherit Red and just add a little bit more of a highlight there. And with that, the Grand Inquisitor is basically done. So if we followed the steps that we did on his uniform on the other 3 Inquisitors, then we can just then move on to the faces, which we'll do now. And for the 5th brother, we're going to take some Poxwalker here, and this is, yep, it's just going to go all over his face. Now, I think I've missed a bit of his chin guard and actually just made it his face, but whatever. And we're going to take some Nuclear Sunrise for the 4th sister here, and this is, yep, it's just going to go all over her face. And all over these tendrils in the back of her head. And we're going to take some Hull Red, and we're just going to add these little markings that she has. Again, I just looked at my reference material and put them on there. They also go on the back of her tendrils here. Now we're going to take some Hardened Leather, and this is going to go all over Riva's face. We're going to take some dark wood, and this is going to be used for Riva's hair. Now, if you want to check out how I do the lightsabers on these guys, you can either check out my Darth Vader video or my Saj Ventress video, which I will put a link in the description below. We'll do the bases on them, and they're done. Here they are. And here they are all finished up. Now we could go through and do some highlights up on the face, but I don't care to, so that's that. And here is the fifth brother here. Yeah, I can see where I missed that spot on his chin. I'll have to go back and fix that. And here is the fourth sister. Actually, this is the miniature I had the most fun painting out of all of them. Really cool sculpt. I like the design of her. And here is the Grand Inquisitor, and he turned out actually really good. I'm actually really happy with all these. A lot of fun. So what do you guys think? Are you picking up this box? Have you already picked it up? Have you already painted it? Probably better than me. I really like the idea of the Inquisitors in Star Wars. Although, it kind of goes against what I thought growing up as a kid. Because I kind of thought that, like, you know, Yoda and Obi-Wan and Luke were really all that was left. And Leia. But it turns out there were just a ton of Jedi all over the place. Everywhere. There's like Kanan and Ezra and Ahsoka. And then like in the Obi-Wan show, there's just like a Jedi that just finds him on Tatooine, which I thought was supposed to be difficult. I mean, it makes sense that they needed Inquisitors, because mopping up all those Jedis would have taken time. Turns out Order 66 wasn't as successful as they would have liked. I guess those clone troopers didn't get them all. What a shock. Actually, I don't understand why people love the clone troopers as much as they do, because, like, they were just fighting droids, which seemed to be, I mean, easier. And then they just botched killing all the Jedi. Didn't do a great job there. Awesome. Elite fighting force. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And you guys have a great day. Oh, there's so much black and gray. That's all this is. Black and gray with a little color. There's a lot of muted tones in Star Wars. That's kind of why Marvel Crisis Protocol is as much fun to paint as it is as a break, because it's just bright poppy colors, and Star Wars has a lot of muted tones. Earth tones, if you will, or I don't know about Earth anything. I'm not a scientist or an artist. I do 3D coloring books. That's what I do.